Alright, well, put some content out. Oh, by the way, hello viewers. It's nighttime, another beautiful day or night. Hope your five senses of work, health, and strength is good or excellent. Yeah. Alright, let's see here. More Xbox first-party games will come to PlayStation and Nintendo hardware will remains. And when everyone's on Xbox, no one will be. That's what they said in the it says here, since Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard and its smorgasbord of development studios, Microsoft, and then it says, and thus Xbox has become the largest third-party game publisher ever. So recently, comment from Phil Spencer in an interview with Gamertag Radio indicating that forthcoming Xbox game will be released on other platforms, including Nintendo and PlayStation, have caused large ripple, but also make a lot of sense. The statement, I want people to be able to experience the games that we build, the experience that we offer as many devices as we can, and we obviously love native experience that we have on our own platform and our own hardware and and that's something that will continue for us. Comes from Danny Pena podcast interview on YouTube, where he and Paris of Gamertag Radio discussed the future of Xbox with Phil Spencer. The 26 minutes interview is chock full of industry insight and nostalgia on older periods of Xbox history, including the original Xbox and 360 era. Then it says, no small brief on console history is needed for those who want to know why these statements are controversial. You know, Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie character, the guy actually from a long time of sometimes beloved and sometimes hated video game until Sonic Adventure 2 got a GameCube port. Those games and many others were always exclusive to Sega consoles. Dreamcast was the last Sega home console, and unfortunately was met with a quick death at the hands of Sony for a more powerful PS2, quickly relegating Sega to a mere third-party developer, whose place in the market was swiftly taken by Microsoft Xbox. And it says here, in the earliest stages of the direct Xbox, that would eventually become the first Xbox system maintain backwards compatibility with Sega Dreamcast titles. It likely helped the Dreamcast was already compatible with Windows CE. Then it says, while the final system did not keep this functionality, several Dreamcast era sequels like Jet Set Radio Futures were exclusively for Xbox. Then it says, these comments may initially sound like the dying words of a failing console manufacturer, but Microsoft at large is a much greater beast than that. Now that Xbox has become the de facto largest third-party game publisher of all time, the focus is shifting towards selling as many games as possible rather than forcing players onto the Xbox platform. Phil Spencer says, we want everybody to be able to play on Xbox, and it does mean more of your game shipping on more platform, not just PlayStation. We love the work that we did with Nintendo. We love what we did with Valve on Steam, and that's going to continue. So is Xbox going the same way as Sega? Absolutely not. Microsoft big wallets had made sure of that. However, the next generation of Xbox console is going to need to offer a lot to bring people based on hardware venues, likely hybrid portable focus of a Switch 3, and the sure to be yet more powerful PlayStation 6, which will both be sold based on their exclusive title, as is tradition of the console business. And that is that. Well, there's the podcast here, so I will leave the link in the description box. Well, okay, Sega, okay, exit the console business. Microsoft and Sega had a little partnership powered by Windows CE, but then some of Sega's games made it to Xbox. The article talk about the Dreamcast being defeated by the PS2. DVD. What made the PlayStation 2 so successful is because it had a DVD player on it. Okay. And then Xbox, when it came out, it didn't have a DVD player, but they made an adapter so the original Xbox can play DVDs. Okay. There was news. I mean, Jet Set Radio Future, Shenmue. They all came to Xbox. I mean, so Shenmue came to Xbox. Okay. Then there was a Sega collection on the 360. And I mean, Microsoft kept pushing, Microsoft, I mean, there was, and then when it came to PS3, there was news of running Gears of War 3 on the PS3. But that was yeah. So now, Microsoft, I mean, they made Xbox One, had some issues on it, but they fixed it. In comes Phil Spencer. They bought ZeniMax Bethesda. Game Pass raised out the ground. And Microsoft, they're having, they bought Activision Blizzard. Once they bought Activision Blizzard, the game industry runs through them. Game industry runs through Microsoft. And Microsoft used the Activision court case, I mean, as a network topology, to broaden the horizon of Xbox. That's what they did. So they were giving out 10-year contracts all over the place. They brought Sea of Thieves to Xbox, and they brought what's that Minecraft they bought Mahjong for 2.5 million, ZeniMax Bethesda for about 7.5, then Activision Blizzard for like almost 68.7 billion, almost $70 billion. And a lot of people were getting mad. They tried to throw shade at Xbox, but Phil Spencer said, they're dealing with games on a case-by-case basis. When it came to Activision, Phil Spencer said, Sony and Nintendo is not our competitors. Because when he made that statement, he realized that there's other competitors out there. If you really look at it, there was news of Disney using EA as a portal, to get into the game industry. Then there was news of Comcast. Of course, there was AT&T that was like trying to sell off studios, Rocksteady, NetherRealms, and WB Games for $5 billion. Yeah, Sony should have jumped at that, but then Warner Brothers Discovery snatched that up. So Microsoft, was making moves. It was their turn. So from where I'm sitting, it's like Phil Spencer is like we got all this wealth. Let's share the wealth. So to me, Microsoft giving their games to Nintendo and PlayStation, they're trying to have crossplay. This is about crossplay. I think crossplay is involved in this. But there is also there's something else that is bigger too, and I'm gonna say this. Microsoft has checkmated the video game industry. They checkmated the video game industry because Nintendo tried to focus on sales. They tried to act like, oh, you know, we're not part of the high performance console. You know, they tried to avoid it. But then soon as they sell something, they start to show their chest. Sony was always about having sales numbers and exclusive. So Microsoft, being the underdog, they realized, like, wait a minute, okay, you know, Sony has a head start, Nintendo has a head start on both of us. Okay, so how can we stay competitive in this? It's like, okay, how can they stay competitive in this market? Start putting some of their games on the competitor's platform, and they beat Nintendo to it, and they beat Sony to it. Sony put their games on PlayStation and PC, right? But not Xbox. Big mistake. Nintendo have never put their games on, like, say, a PlayStation or anything. So they're just in a standstill. So Microsoft is like, okay, so you did this. Okay, you don't want to put your games on our console. Okay, fine. We will. It's like Microsoft is saying, like, okay, we'll be the first to do it. And so they start once they bought Minecraft, they start putting their games. Minecraft was the first test, right? Then Sea of Thieves now, even though they put it on PlayStation, you can still play it on Xbox. They're still gonna make Xbox consoles. Make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's the fact now that they got their games everywhere. So basically, Sea of Thieves will be on the. They probably will bring Sea of Thieves to the Nintendo Switch, even though the PlayStation and Nintendo fans was laughing at it. They ain't laughing now. So Microsoft has really Microsoft has checkmated the video game industry, because they got their games on PC, they got their games on Nintendo, and they got their games on PlayStation, and they got their games on their own console. So they're not hurting. They're not hurting by any stretch of the imagination. They're not. They just beat Sony to the point. They beat Sony and Nintendo to it. Nintendo will try to remain, like, standoffish, like this is our protective property, but they don't want their games on other people's platforms, right? Sony now, they put their games on PC and PlayStation, and that was it. But they never put their games on Xbox. Microsoft is sitting there watching this like, okay, we got you guys. So what they started doing is, like, putting their games on everything. PC, PlayStation, Nintendo, and even their own. So either way it goes, they're gonna be making they're gonna make money regardless. They're gonna make money regardless. So basically, Microsoft has checkmated the video game industry. That when I told you the entire world, I told you the entire world runs on Windows, which it does. I told you it's a Game Pass world, and we're just living in it. And I told you the entire video game industry runs through Microsoft. So during that Activision court case situation, Microsoft was using that as a network topology to, like, plant their seeds all over the place, and that's what they did. So Microsoft putting their games on all other people's platform, it's a win for them. They're not going to be hurting by any stretch of the imagination. Game Pass will still be here, and they got games to make. Now, the only issue I had with them is that they should have never, to me, the only issue I think I had was when they put Ori, but I didn't see it at first. But now I get it. The only real issue I have, like, they should have kept Arcane Studios around so they could fix Redfall, and then use Redfall 1 to build Redfall 2, and Redfall 2 would have been way better. But that's just me. Saying it. But they have checkmated the video game industry. They have. And they are the first to do it, because while everybody else is playing conservative and all they want to push is sales and exclusive, like Phil Spencer said, what do you say? Sales ain't the end all be all to video games. And me, I picked up on it when he said it. So Nintendo don't want to put their games on other people's platform. That's a miss for them. Sony only did PlayStation and PC, and that's a miss for them. But Microsoft said, okay, Xbox games here, Xbox games here, and Xbox games here, and Xbox games here. So basically, Microsoft got all four, actually all five corners covered, because there's Microsoft, which is PC, Nintendo, PlayStation, PC, and then Apple through the clouds. Microsoft has just checkmated the video game industry. So when I saw this article on Tom's Hardware, you know, everybody's spelling doom and gloom for Xbox, but they're not going anywhere. So they just realize they just capitalize on everybody. They just capitalize on everybody's mistakes. That's what, you know. Yeah. You can play Xbox games now on TVs, on your phones. I mean, the first test was when they had the Xbox where you could stream it through your phone, but now they took it even further now to your TV. So they got what, Samsung and what's that, LG? What's that, LG? So yeah, Microsoft has checkmate the video game industry, and the entire Xbox ecosystem is feeding off Windows. Remember, I gave you the Unreal 2004 analogy of our Onslaught mode, where you have the core, which is Game Pass, but you got these nodes all over the place. Yeah. So and then Windows is powering the core, meaning powering Game Pass, and Microsoft beat everybody to it. So what was last now is now first. You know, what was first is last, and what was last, meaning Microsoft, they're really in first place. So they have checkmated the video game industry. You know, and yeah, it's already done. You know, so they were just putting their games all over. You know, they saw the opportunity and they seized it. You know, Nintendo had a chance to put their games on, you know, PC, Apple, and all that. They didn't seize it. Sony had a chance to put their games on PC and Apple and other people's platform. They didn't take advantage of it. So Microsoft is like, oh, so you guys just want to sit here and talk about console sales and exclusives, huh? Okay, we're gonna beat you guys this way, and they did. You know, you got Xbox and Windows. That's one, but now you got Apple, you got PC, you got Nintendo, you got PlayStation, Xbox. So yeah, Microsoft has checkmated the video game industry. So yeah, once they bought ZeniMax, once they bought Activision Blizzard, it became clear. I was like, okay, I get it now. I see what you're doing. So yeah, so I just put this title out there. Just, you know, Microsoft has checkmated the video game industry. The video game industry runs through Microsoft, because they put once they bought Activision Blizzard, it became clear as day. You know, so yeah. And remember when I was talking to you about the Activision court case, you know, instead of them sitting there waiting on the judge to make a decision, Microsoft's like 10-year contract, like here. Ubisoft, Boosteroid, Nintendo, yeah, they were giving out 10-year contracts. Yeah, they were just planting their seeds all over the place. And then on top of that, they exposed Sony too, from blocking games from going to Xbox. That was a big blow to Sony. That was like, you could see Sony empire just crumbling like like brick by brick. You know, so yeah, when they exposed that. So yeah, Microsoft has checkmated the video game industry, man. So it's a Game Pass world, and we're just living in it, man. You know? Yeah, and they beat everybody to it, you know. So they're not losing like you think they are. If you think they're losing, no, they're not. You need to go back and look at what they did in the court case. They're just planting their seeds all over the place. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah. Yeah, you got Game Pass through the cloud now. That's what it means that Apple users can play Game Pass. Bing, 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 bing. So yeah. So Microsoft, PC, Apple, Nintendo, PlayStation. Checkmate. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. The nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars, and started playing Dark Side. Go. Peace.